a really good movie, The Way of the Gun. But I want to talk about this, okay? There's two types of people that are going to be interested in the book. One is going to be the type that wants to know how I did things technically, like highlighting and grabbing and cutting, okay, and moving things on notes. That's one type. I don't like that. The second one is just the one that waits for the updates, and they just want to read it. They want to read the story. Those are two different types of people. I say I'm not a Republican, but they want to know how. They want to know about the scrolling. They want to know about the model number of this. They want to know the brand. I don't like that. The second type of person is a person that wants the story. Those are the people I want to work with. Does that make sense? Okay. 35 millimeter, don't care. Neither does Lynch. It's about the story, not about the millimeter. You see what I'm saying? So the person I want to work with cares about the story, about the Shepherds of Alaska, or Dog Night Out, or Rib, which his original title was Rib. You see the difference? The story. That's the people I want to work with. All right. So we did some updates, and we'll go ahead and do a reading of it. Okay. First, I know that people are real interested about how things come together, and that does help. Because the hardest thing right now, dealing with all of this right now and how I'm doing it with notes, is that mouse. And those are the Republicans. Republicans want to know about that. They want to know about the mouse. Where's the mouse? I'm only using this thing. So this thing is a whole, you can get your MFA or your doctorate on just this thing right here when it comes to the Apple. There's a bunch of hotkeys, but there's also a bunch of stuff. Now, there's a hotkey that can save you. It's called Command Z. The little back button that you see on your iPhone, okay? It's not here. Where is it, right? It's Command Z, Command and Z. You can go back that way. And it saved a big chunk of it from being erased. Now, this bounce back and forth, it's going to be real hard. You're going to have to be like a Zuckerberg. Well, Zuckerberg's allowing me to bounce. Facebook is made for novels. You can tap on Facebook, boom, one time, it'll copy. Just one touch, it'll all turn blue and it'll copy. That's so that you can take that and you can put it on another device. Zuckerberg knew about that when he created it. It's very, very quick. All right. Let's go ahead and cut there. And now we're going to talk about the story. No, Kitty, the whole world's watching. Stop it. Kitty, no. Oh. Kitty, stop it. Jump. Go, jump. Stop it, Kitty. Golly. There. Golly. Right there is probably one of our best actors since Marlon Brando, for sure. He also studied with Stella Adler. That's Benicio del Toro. This is a really important movie called The Way of the Gun. I'm going to talk about plot in a minute. Hang on. All right, guys. Okay, so we got a few things. I may have to go back and look through a previous vlog. Now, I'm kind of cutting in the middle of Rib. I think I'm going to keep the name Rib. If they change it to Shepherds of Alaska, it's fine too. But Rib is the original title. It's going to be the novel. I remember something that Benicio del Toro told me, though, about making the lines your own. And then I wanted him to kind of expand on it. And he said, well, you can type them. He knew immediately, just that quick. And this is when he was doing Traffic. Anyway, we're going back to the plot, the real plot, because I wanted to see if maybe using Benicio for the polar bear guy. So remember how Shep keeps seeing the polar bear. He sees it through the thermal scope. He sees it when he's working on the wheeled wagon up
up on the top of the roof of the wagon. He sees the polar bear. He keeps seeing the polar bear. And I mentioned the polar bear as a pet. Then I've also mentioned possibly if the polar bear was like a shape-shifting thing that turns into the polar bear guy. Well, actually, in actuality, the polar bear is a pet. In this case, in a way. Because you can train a polar bear. You can also train a circus bear. There's circus bears being trained in this whole thing. There's a brown bear and then a polar bear, too. Now, he's on a reservation, which Shep, who is the ex-cop, probably got permission to be on that reservation. Now, the only way the FBI can get on there is they have to go to the council. They have to go to the tribal council. They have to ask permission, saying, listen, we're in the middle of investigating this crime. May we please go onto your reservation and investigate this crime? If they say yes, then they can. The Alaskan Troopers, which is one is Al Greenwood, the other one is Jonah Samuel Campbell III. At least Al probably gets permission, or says he gets permission, to go talk to Shep. The first time they get his information, it says archery rector, good to go, clears in the system because of the Lone Star hacker, blah, blah, blah. All right. Okay. Now, what ends up happening is there is a time when Shep gets a second interview. That's why I was talking about, the archery rector thing is challenged by the little person, which is the dwarf, which I wanted Peter Dinklage to play. The dwarf knows that it's Shep because Shep ends up hooking up with this lady Shelby, which is supposed to be the dwarf's wife. They hook up, and he eventually doesn't know much about the dwarf. But he knows that he's out in Alaska and he's basically running on administrative leave. But he doesn't really know exactly why, because he was set up. He was accused, and that's the whole thing about the death mask and Cop X and everything, going across town, blah, 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 and doing all that stuff, and then blaming one of his partners so he doesn't, have to do time. So that's why he's in Alaska, and that's what Shep eventually finds out. Well, Shep doesn't really know exactly who set him up, but Doc Shelby finds out. So Doc Shelby, being the militia commander and everything, he's the little guy, he's a dwarf. He finally convinces the head Alaskan trooper, which I wanted Wahlberg to play. The only reason is because he has kind of a command. Wahlberg has kind of this command thing. The Alaskan Trooper 1, which is Al Greenwood, is finally convinced, listen, I'll go check it out. I'll mention this whole Shep Dwight East thing, because he's got like newspaper articles. This guy was supposed to be on administrative leave. Look at the photo. The photo looks similar, so they probably go by the photo. Second attempt that they go to the reservation and then get on the Alaskan property, or the Native American property, and they go to talk to him. That's when he runs. And he goes with his dog Buster. Shep runs. So Shep and his dog Buster, they go and they make it over this like huge mountain and all this stuff. And they're chasing him through this blizzard, and they lose him, right? Finally, he loses him. And, he has to get all Rambo and stuff, and they can't find him in the snow. They give up on it, and he makes it back to the wheeled wagon. And as he's going in with Buster, you hear Buster, whatever. Like there's like a painful sound coming from Buster. Turns around, it's too late. Polar bear grabs him. There's a whole fight with the polar bear. He's able to reach up and grab his pocket knife off where the propane tank is and stab the polar bear in the neck over and over and over and over and over again. He's covered in blood. Polar bear finally bleeds out because he hits the right nerve, or he hits the right vein. Polar bear dies. The dog's still alive. He's able to get the dog, with the help of Lady Shelby, to the vet. That is actually correct. And the state trooper stuff, they're far off. Whether he has to, his next move is he has to wheel that wagon wheel with his Ford Scepter to another part of the reservation or to another area to hide. So he's got a lot to do, but he's got to heal up. So he goes to the vet. They try to save the dog, but the dog's ribs, he got into where the dog's rib is. He also clawed and probably bit maybe part of his shoulder and the rib of Shepherd, Dwight East. He's like ribs exposed. Basically what he ends up doing is he goes, moves the van and everything. Shelby helps him. But see, Shelby knows everything about him. She can commute all this stuff back to Doc. So she's kind of a double crosser in a way, because she still has to be connected with Doc, because Doc has an unlimited amount of money. But she loves Shep, though. So anyway, next move is he has to bury the dog. So he carries the dog to the shore of, where this river is, this ice river, and that's where he hears this rattling noise. He looks across. He thinks it's the polar bear, because the polar bear's already dead. It's not the polar bear. This is where I want Benicio to play. It's actually the native. It's an Alaskan native, and he's got a polar bear garb, and he calls him over. Now, a couple of times earlier, we may see in the thermal scope that it doesn't look like a polar bear. It looks maybe like a man. So you get this whole, like, is it shape-shifting kind of thing. Anyway, crosses the river of ice. I believe using the rope. There's a rope there, too, because there's going to be another time where they cross the river, too. He crosses it, and he has to hang on to the rope, and it's all broken up, and he's pulling himself to the shore. He finally crosses, which is supposed to be like the River of Death, right to the polar bear native. Well, he's a Alaskan native in polar bear ceremonial garb. They go into like this igloo, or like an igloo, and he's doing this thing helping him heal with sage and stuff like that. He helps him heal the injury. Okay, so now we're okay. Shep's okay, so Shep survives. Then Doc sends everyone out on assignment, because Doc figures it out. Doc really just wants to kind of stop evil. He wants to stop injustice. He wants to stop bullies. That's when they send the whole team to Fort Worth to find Cop X, who I wanted Ray Fiennes to play. Cop X, what he did was he was going across town in these like makeshift cars, impounded cars and stuff, so it wouldn't be traced. And he was doing something wrong. He was going to this area I'm not going to really say. And then he ended up having this little relationship with this lady. I haven't given her a name yet. Well, when he comes back to, going across town, going back and forth, back and forth, all of a sudden, he doesn't like what he sees when he goes one time. So he starts hanging out with Shep. And one time he puts the stuff in Shep's, beer. Shep takes a drink, goes to sleep, and then he's able to make this mask. He puts this thing over Shep's face. It's basically like it's called a death mask. You can actually make them where it's your mask. Then he takes it off and he puts this alcohol on Shep's face, wipes it with this cotton ball stuff. And he probably maybe uses like vodka or something. He might could use that to clean the actual putty. And by the time Shep wakes up, he doesn't even know what's going on. Then he uses that mask to take his Inceptor and drive it across town to leave the truck there for a little while and then come back to where Shep lives in his neighborhood. That gets Shep's question. Shep gets brought in by an investigator. This is all in the past. We see this in the past. That I wanted either Holly Hunter or Frances McDormand. I thought Holly Hunter would be good. It's like not FBI, but it's like internal affairs investigator. She starts questioning him, and that's where it leads to the misdirection. So we get a little taste of it, but we don't see exactly what he does. We don't see what Cop X does. We just know, and we get his name a little bit later, we just know that he goes into this place, and he comes out. He goes in, he comes out. That's all we see. So we don't get the full answer. That's what's hidden in the briefcase, like in the Pulp Fiction thing, where we don't see inside the briefcase. We don't need to see everything. I appreciate that writing technique by Quentin Tarantino, by the way. I appreciate that. That helps a whole lot. All right, so we have that, and that should all connect there. The reason why is because I found these things separately, and then I pasted them together. But I had to find them, and went, okay, this works. And then I found this, and that works. And I need to go back and listen to the vlog about him crossing the river. So if you can find that, leave a comment. because there's a thing where he crosses the river when I first talked about it a while back, and that was dealing with the Native American, the polar bear things. Sometimes I don't always title them, so I think I remember him saying they crossed either with somebody. It may have been Shelby. It may have been Lady Shelby, or it may have been the dog. It may have been Buster. So he may bury the dog near the river or something like that. Anyway.
Not watching your...
Now we're doing acting training. See how Kitty's a little stiff? There he goes. He's upset because he doesn't want to lay on his back for the shot. Whoa, there he goes. Now he's protesting. Whoa. So, there he goes. He's starting to relax a little bit. Kitty. Anyway, I'll talk about it later. But see how he's kind of relaxing a little bit? Because the one in Godfather is good. The cat in Godfather is really good. He's doing pretty good right here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There he goes. That's a good Kiki. There he goes. Nice, loosen up a little bit. He'll get still when he's mad. Now he's kind of wondering, what's going on? There he goes.